Lucifer can't actually put his throne inside the cave because Adam and Eve are praying at the moment, and the holiness of that, I guess, prevents him from getting near them. So he just puts his chair right outside the cave. Satan starts like shining light in there to make them think that the sun is back, and his demons do their best to imitate the angels singing praises. I don't know, I personally think that they probably weren't that great at singing like the angels are because they're not practicing it. They're busy making people sin. Satan's like, okay, once they come out and bow to me, thinking that I'm God, we're going to humble them again. And it's gonna be hilarious. All right, 5, 6, 7, 8. He shines the light in there, and all of the angels are singing. Adam and Eve see this light, and they're like, the angels are back. They're bringing us light. Light is back. This is good. Like, they hear the angels, and they start to go out and see what this is. And then Adam stops. Adam's like, wait a second. There's light. They're singing, but they're just standing out there. Quote, if they were from God, they would come to us in the cave and would tell us their errand. Why haven't they come in here to explain what they're doing and why they're here? Angels from God always explain. So he prays again and he's like, hey, God, is there another God, perhaps somewhere with angels like yours that sing like yours and kind of look like yours? If there is another God like that, might they send us angels? Because there are some very angelic looking people singing outside, and they have not come in here to tell us what the heck they're doing. They're super shiny, they look like angels. So, are there any other gods that might have perhaps sent them to us? And if so, who might that be? And if you did send them, could you please have them come in and tell us what's going on? God is like, oh. He looks down and he's like, he did not. And he sends an angel down. The angel immediately appears in the cave and is like, yeah, that is Satan. Absolutely. And he is trying to trick you. I'll handle it. The angel goes out there and grabs Satan and drags him back inside the cave like, this the guy? This is the guy? This is Satan. Why would you do that? And then he rips off Satan's disguise Scooby-Doo style and shows Adam and Eve Satan's true hideous form. Hideous. That's what the book says. Adam and Eve are like, because apparently this hideous form came about after he got cast out of heaven, but he disguised himself because he knew that Adam and Eve would see the hideous form and be frightened by it. Then the angel drop kicks Satan right out of the cave and leaves. And Adam and Eve are just left standing there like, what just happened? But morning comes with no more incidents with Satan. Thankfully, they just say their prayers and then they go to engage in their favorite hobby, staring longingly at the garden gate. Satan is a persistent dude. He sees Adam and Eve going back to look at the garden and he's like, oh, I'm gonna mess with them again. He goes and gets his demons. He's like, guys, let's go mess with them some more. Film it for TikTok. It's a prank, bro. So this time, he makes himself look like a cloud. Went down to Georgia. He hasn't even gone down to Georgia yet. Georgia doesn't even exist. Not even the country. Neither the country nor the state, I think. How far back does history go in Georgia? Constellation, look it up if you want to. So he takes on the form of a cloud. And Adam and Eve see the cloud and they're like, more angels? But Adam is suspicious. He prays. He's like, hey God, what's with the cloud? And Satan, the hater of all good, speaks up as fast as he can and goes, Adam, of course I'm an angel. Look at all these other angels that I'm hanging out with who are definitely also real angels. Of course God sent me. He wants me to take you to the clear sea so you guys can bathe in it and become like you were and return to the garden. All is forgiven. You guys go bathe in that sea. And Adam and Eve are like, whoa, really? All is forgiven? Yet, God withheld his word from Adam and did not make him understand at once. But God waits to see whether Adam will fall for it like Eve did with the forbidden fruit, or if Adam will not be fooled. Adam and Eve, they're kind of like, this weird stuff happened last night, what if? But before they can decide, Satan calls to them, behold, we go to the sea of water. And Adam and Eve are like, oh, okay, we're leaving, I guess, we gotta go. And they stop thinking about it, and they follow Satan and his hosts for a little ways, and they get back up to that really high mountain, and Satan just sweeps them up to the top. And the book specifically says, not in a vision, this is real. He really sweeps them up on top of that mountain. He and his demons want the earth all to themselves. He is fully intent on throwing them off. I don't know what good he thinks that's gonna do, because they already jumped off this cliff and God just brought them back to life and was like, stop doing that. Now God intervenes. Quote, he saw that Adam was meek and without guile. He's like, you guys really don't know. Okay. And God yells at Satan and curses him, and Satan and his buddies are like, and they run away, leaving Adam and Eve just standing there on top of the mountains. And Adam and Eve are standing there while Satan and his buddies run away, and they can see for miles and miles. I guess they didn't really take the time to look over the view when they were throwing themselves off the cliff. They weren't thinking about that. They look at this, they can see all of this, but they can no longer see the angels that brought them up here, and they're like, and they start crying and realize what happened. And they pray for forgiveness, and God's word comes back, and it's like, guys, you gotta understand, Satan is trying to trick you. He is always trying to trick you. I don't know what they're supposed to do to differentiate, but the word is like, Satan is always trying to trick you. That's always what he's doing. And they just keep crying. Adam keeps crying because, like, he's freaked out, and it's been a bad day, and also now it's dark again, and he hates the dark, and he's like, God, could we, like, maybe have a little piece of the garden? I'm not asking to go back in. Could we just have a piece of it to remember it by and take comfort in? And God's like, yeah, of course you can have a piece of the garden. And he wants them to be comforted. They've been having a really rough time. He sends, quote, the angel Michael as far as the sea that reaches into India, which they don't really mention the snake. I guess the snake's just hanging out there, but he doesn't see it, I guess, to retrieve some golden rods, like not the plant, which I think that's a plant, but like some actual rods made of gold, which will, quote, shine forth with light in the night around them and put an end to their fear of darkness. He basically sends them some nightlights. I kind of think that's adorable. That goes back that far. Parents give their little kids nightlights when they're afraid of the dark, and Michael goes to get nightlights for Adam and Eve. And then God is like, oh, we should get them some sweet-smelling incense from the garden, too. Gabriel, go do that. Go to the garden and get some incense. Tell the cherub I sent you so he won't kick you out. And Gabriel goes to the cherub. He's like, it's good. God sent me. And the cherub's like, all right. And goes back to guarding it with his flaming sword. And then God is like, oh, we need some myrrh, too. Raphael, go get some of that from the garden. So Michael, Raphael, and Gabriel are running these errands, and they get all of this stuff, and they meet God by the tree of life. And they've got the golden rods, they've got the incense, they've got the myrrh. See where this is going? And God is like, nice. Go dip all of those in that spring of water and sprinkle some of that water on Adam and Eve when you bring this to them. It'll make them feel better. I don't know if that's a parallel to, like, baptism, but gold, frankincense, and myrrh. The same stuff that the wise men reportedly brought Jesus when he was a baby in the stable or the cave. I'm hearing it's a cave these days a lot. Anyway, the angels do as God tells them, and they go give Adam and Eve these gifts, and Adam and Eve, well, they start crying again. But this time from happiness. They get the gifts, and God is like, you see these tokens? They are to comfort you and to remind you to trust in me. And remember the promise I made you. When I come to earth in the flesh, kings are going to bring me these same things. Quote, gold as a token of my kingdom, incense as a token of my divinity, and myrrh as a token of my suffering and my death. So again, it's another prophecy that Jesus is going to come and redeem mankind. And it was 3 things, he says, as a token of the 3 days that the Lord should remain in the heart of the earth. The 3 days that Jesus is said to have lain in the tomb before he was resurrected. So put these in the cave, guys, let them bring you comfort. And then God gets a couple more angels to get Adam and Eve down from this mountain and get them back to the cave. And for the record, we get numbers. The gold is 70 rods of gold. The incense was 12 pounds of incense, and the myrrh, that got written as mirror for some reason, was 3 pounds of myrrh. So they stay in the cave for a few more days. They're still fasting until the 7th day. It has been only a week since they left the garden. Like I said, this is an intense week for Adam and Eve. On the 8th day, Adam's like, hey, Eve, let's go down to that sea of water outside the garden and pray for forgiveness to show God how serious we are. Like, let's stay on the beach and pray for forgiveness just until he lets us back into the garden. Let's just stay there to show him we are committed. I admire their persistence. I mean, I guess there's probably not much else they want. But of course, guess who comes back to mess things up? No, it's not Peter Pan. It's Satan, again. He goes to the cave and he's like, where are they? They're not in there. they went to go pray for their sins on the beach, at different parts of the beach. And he goes and he's like, I only got 2 mortals to mess with and now I don't even know where they are. He searches the whole cave and finds nothing. He finally does find them on the beach because he's got nothing better to do. Legit, no one has anything to do. There's nothing to do, it's Earth. He finds them on the beach and he's like, I'm gonna mess with them again, but I'm not gonna try this with Adam because he is too savvy, even though he totally fooled Adam last time too, I don't know. But I'm gonna go talk to Eve because my track record with her is better. She's gullible. I'm gonna get her to come out of the water and break that vow that they made to stay in the water for a long time. And I'm gonna get her to break that vow and come out of the water. Again, he takes the form of an angel and he goes to Eve and he's like, good news, God has forgiven you. He sent me to Adam to tell him, and then Adam told me to go tell you that you guys get to go back in the garden. Congratulations! Like, let's celebrate. God has forgiven you, and I'm definitely a legit angel from God. So come out of the water. Let's celebrate. Eve immediately falls for it and follows Satan in angel form to where Adam is, and she's like, we're forgiven. Isn't it wonderful? And Adam looks up and he's like, what are you doing? Why are you out of the water? Who told you you were forgiven? And Eve turns around. The angel's gone. And Adam is so upset that he, again, falls into the water and almost drowns himself again. But again, God looks down and is like, no, you are not doing this again. And sends the word to get him out of the water and is like, Eve, what are you doing? Who told you you were forgiven? Eve is like, there was an angel that came and told me we were forgiven and told me to come out of the water. Adam is like, my darling, that was Satan again. That wasn't a real angel. And he takes her back to the cave, but before Satan found them, they did manage to spend a total of 35 days in the water without leaving. I don't know how they didn't get like trench foot or something, but they were in the water the whole time, which makes it 42 days since they left the garden. And they didn't eat that whole time either. So, you know, Eve was probably having some hunger brain fog. Let's give Eve a break. Some of us are gullible, okay? So that's the first 33 chapters, at least summarized. Did they have Wi-Fi? Does not seem to be so. And we will continue it another stream.